Hello guys, now we will continue with the text files in C programming language. And actually we need to talk about a little bit related to the text files. Text files allow any user to prepare data once and store it on a secondary storage, disk, compact disk, digital video disk like that, and then use it over and over again. Actually, with the current developments, you can store your text files also in a cloud-based systems such as G Drive or Dropbox like that. In here, the C program could be stored on a file, and through that you can read and write it. And your application could create a text file specifically to satisfy the requirements of your application. Think about that. It's an example of a text file. We have in here more than 3 records and end of the file indicator. Each of the information prepared for each student and kept in a single line in a file called as registration. This is the registration file. And in this registration, uh, we are keeping a record of the like midterm exam results of the students. Tom got 90 in here. As you can see, this indicates end of the line indicator. Actually, you can use it for the return or enter key on your keyboard. And it separates the records from each other. And again, as we explained before, this indicates the end of the file, uh, the symbol. Uh, we can say that there could be two types of text files in the application base. File containing variable length of the records. As you can see, the record length is different for each of them. If we count them from character base structure, there are 1, 2, 3, and blank space is another character. 4, 8 could be taken as a character, so 5, and there are 6 characters in here. However, in here, there are 4 characters for the name, 1 blank space, so it becomes 5, 6, and 7 characters accordingly. But if you are keeping the file with the fixed length of records, all the records should have the same size of the records, such as if it is 20, then it will put blank spaces in the structure accordingly. Also, this end of the file could be counted as another character. Don't forget that. To open and to close the file, you should specifically follow some of the requirements, such as to be able to open a file. First of all, you need to define as a file that you need to connect at the related pointer. This is external file name representation given like that. In here, this external file representation is actually pointed out an internal file name. How it works? Actually, to open a file, first of all, you need to use your pointer. Then this pointer should point it out the real name of this file and also its location it contains like that. Also, you should specifically define how, in which mode you would like to open that file. A open function enables you the file carrying the external file name to be opened and returns the address of this file to the application. And the file opening mode is a parameter used to determine for what purpose the file will be opened. In here, these are the modes. If you would like to open just a read format, you should write down SR. But if you are writing down SR, or sorry, if you are reading as a in the R format, you cannot write over it. But if you are creating a new file and you are initiating that file, and if you open it on the W format, then this file will be created. However, if this file is created before and you open it in the W mode, then this file, the new information will be written over the previous file. So you should be careful about that. And if you want to keep the previous information, you should append the new information to the previously created R plus means you want also read and write together, and you can use R plus. And if you want to have all the rights, read, write, and creating files, you can use write plus. And similar to the previous versions, uh, for plus plus and R plus, A plus is also included in this methodology. However, that is my advice. We should be careful about using these three because their purposes are specifically defined, and with using the plus signs, you are actually breaking out this structure. So I advise you to use just R, W, and A for your purposes, for your application development purposes. So here's a simple example. In here, we are defining our pointer, and this pointer is with the same structure with our C code. So we don't need to recurrently define this specific location like that. And if we are opening a file, also we should not forget to close it. Otherwise, after creation of this file, we should be careful about closing it. Otherwise, we cannot reopen it again. So to be able to create the end of the file symbol, we need to close our file with using the fclose. And as you can see for the fclose, just writing down this pointer is enough. And after opening opening a file, probably we require to read some of the content inside. So fgetc is used to get a single character from the file. Oh, like that. And let's try to write down a simple application with using this code. So first of all, let's create a new project called as file reader, or just write down file01. In here, you don't need to require to include other classes. These libraries, these are enough, sufficiently enough. And first of all, I am copying this information. But if I execute like that, I will get an error because this input.txt previously did not create it, and it cannot find it out. So it may face a problem. And I'm getting the character reading operation in here. So I'm including like that. However, we will get an error by the way again. Just let me execute it for you. As you can see, actually we didn't receive an error, but we don't have this file, so we are not getting the error. We just get an empty structure because this file is not exist currently. So what we can do, we can just try to include a new file to new source file. Yes. I'm not so sure I'm actually using it first time. I will try to save it as input.txt, not C source file, but as all files. So it should work. I'm including this information into my code. Actually, because I copied it from the PowerPoint, this return key actually is not the return key that is expected, so it will left like that. It is why it's giving the question marks. Now I'm saving it. Then I will try to re-execute it again and hopefully it will work. As you can see, the information now is created, so it brings it out the T as the first character. But as you expect, reading a single character, especially we want to expect to read uh, a whole bunch of records is not enough. So we need to increment or expand our expectations accordingly and our coding accordingly. Fget function reads a string from the text file and returns a pointer to that string. As you can see, we are using the same read file again, and we are defining a character array, actually a string, and st1 will get the first character through reading our file. Then we will try to print it out its value. First character means we are also including this blank space accordingly. So let me just copy this part. In here. Or maybe let me create another specific code, because when we left after the first character, it will continue to read where it left, so it will not bring me what I expected probably. So I'm creating a new project. Sorry, new project as file02. Now I am including the required information, and also I need to include the related pointer accordingly. So also I should not forget to include a fclose statement. I'm not writing down anything. It is essential, especially for the using it as with the or mod W. But don't forget to include it, especially for the file operations and for the later. If you will continue with programming, especially focusing on network applications and also database related applications, if you are opening something, don't forget to close it. Otherwise, you should create some unexpected results, such as security breaches or security problems like that. So let's compile and execute it. By the way, hopefully I didn't create a problem. Yes. As you can see, it gets the first string in our file. What was that? That was actually the theme from our input file. So it brought out into our structure like that. A scanf function works similar to scanf, but in here we are giving a specific format, such as read the string, read the integer accordingly. In here, as you can see, we expect to read the integer value from our structure. And again, you may expect that how we can read from beginning to end. Actually, we need to require to implement through a loop structure. But if we are not, it will only read a single line of record. So in here, we will also create a file called as the read.txt, and we try to see its related values accordingly. So again, let's continue to create a new file called as a new project called as file03. Actually, if you have a pre-written code, your work is easy. And again, even for the pre-written codes, you need to change its structure sometimes. And I will create this also. This will read. Again, as you can see, we included str30, str2. Actually, we are not using them. We will just use the X in here. And these are a little bit unnecessary, so I will let like that. And also, I'm including the source file called as in here. It's read file, but it should be read.txt. So I'm saving it as read.txt. Sorry, not the source file and the C file. Sorry, read.txt, and I am copying this information again. I am also pressing enter to create this structure at the end. Just like that. I'm saving it. Now it's time for this part. This will be file03.c. Now let's see the result. Source file not compiled. I get this. Yes, no worries. This is what I expect. But please execute my code. I'm getting an error. Let me remove it, if it let me to do that. I'm closing it. But as you can see, at the end, I get my result accordingly. But by the way, using a file editor as a source file could cause some unexpected results. So I advise you to include it manually like that. As you can see, I already included in here. And if I want to continue to read the remaining part, I need to do just include fscanf, sorry, with including the related files again. For the second scanf, I will read a character, so it will be C, which means a character, and it will be CH, and I will print it out the CH in here. And I will read a floating value, so F, and my Z I will use for this reason. Because think about that, we have a cursor, and at the end, each cursor will we reach end of the file, then it will continue, not end of the file, end of the record, then it will continue with the next lines accordingly. And I'm printing out f as z, and finally for my last manual reading, by manual I mean without using a loop. Because as you can see, think about it, if I have thousands of records, I cannot write down thousands of fscanf and printf. I should need to use a proper structure, and the structure is loop. So let's execute it, compile to compile and run. In here, I was able to read the character, but as you can see, I have a problem in here. So for the scanf, I need to use lf rather than just f. So when I do that, as you can see, I get my values. So guys, I will continue with the second video with the examples how we will use a proper structure. So please try to watch the second video related with the file operations in C. Take care, guys.